Let's debate shooting guards today. Who's the third best ever? Because number 1 and 2 are pretty much set in stone. We all know it's Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, then everybody else. Most people would say Dwayne Wade is number 3, but here today we have Jeff Teague, old NBA player, notably known for being an all-star on the Hawks, and having a ring with the Bucks, although he didn't really play like that. He's now a star podcaster, right? With a Club 520 podcast, a whole nother stories, everything. The podcast is hilarious. I check them out daily, pretty much, every time they drop. And he was on the OGs with Udonis Aslim and Mike Miller, and they were debating Dwayne Wade versus James Harden. So take a listen to what Jeff T got to say about why, in his opinion, James Harden is better than Dwayne Wade, and then we're going to come back and react to it. But before I play the clip, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I think James Harden is the number 3 shooting guard of all time. Me, just like watching this game, going against him, competing against him. Like, it was real life scheme. Like, you had to scheme for D-Wade too. Mm-hmm. But James Harden, when he was by himself in Houston, bro, they was going to the Western Conference Finals every year. They was doing all this stuff. And he was unbelievable, averaging 35,
yes.
8.
Yes, he's one of the easiest scorers there's been.
Like, he was unguardable. And no offense, I mean, like, I ain't trying to disrespect D-Wade. Before Bron got there, no disrespect to you too, Miami was damn near... Y'all was competing with us, the Hawks. Like, we was going back and forth.
Yeah.
We wasn't like that. Then Bron came, different stratosphere.
All right, so y'all heard him. So here are my thoughts. Again, number 1 and 2 is pretty much set in stone. We got Michael Jordan number 1, Kobe Bryant number 2, and most people that I know would say Dwayne Wade is number 3. But here we're arguing James Harden over Dwayne Wade. So Jeff Teague, I'm not really mad at his take, although I disagree. Here's why. Because if you listen to what Jeff Teague said, he really approached the question purely from a raw offensive skill set perspective, as a guy who played against prime James Harden in Houston. And I feel like a lot of people with this new version of James Harden, with all of the drama that he's been attached with throughout the past 4 to 5 years, we kind of forget how good that man was offensively in Houston when he was dropping 30 a game, when he had the 50 or 60 point triple doubles. That man was just a one-man offense. He was indeed super unguardable, and he was a full system by himself. He changed the way people would ISO and play the game. He popularized the Euro step, the step back, the side step, all that. Everyone got it in their bags now. Even centers are doing it on a regular basis. That's all coming from James Harden's influence. He, for better and for worse, he also popularized foul baiting so much that the refs now had to change the rule and the way they called the game, because James Harden was just getting away with so much, and he was putting so much pressure on the defense. People were even scared to guard him. Like, I remember sometimes seeing guys try everything to stop James Harden in the regular season. Like, they would guard him from the back, like ridiculous stuff, because the man was so unguardable. So that's James Harden. He was so good that he made the Houston Rockets, which was a talented group, but far from a super team, in my opinion. The biggest threat to arguably the best team ever in the Golden State Warriors with KD. If you think about it, they play the Warriors tougher than LeBron James, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, just because James Harden was so good. And then he had Chris Paul who performed too, but it was under the command of James Harden. So James Harden would probably be a champion, if we are being real, if it wasn't for the Golden State Warriors. It's kind of a situation like, Charles Barkley or Karl Malone, these guys who never won a ring because of Michael Jordan, is the same. A lot of people like to say that how many championships would LeBron had if the Warriors had not teamed up with KD. The same can be said about James Harden. I believe he is at least a one-time champ if he's not for that super team, right? And one of the aspects of his game, in my opinion, that is really, really underappreciated is his elite ability to both score and assist. No other shooting guard that we would name in the top 5, no matter if it's Michael Jordan, if it's Kobe, if it's Dwayne Wade or Allen Iverson, whomever you want to put up there, can say the same. James Harden won 3 scoring champs and also 2 assist champs. None of those guys that I just named could do that. In history, if I think about it, guys that could score to that level and then win an assist title, off the top of my head, maybe LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James actually did it once. And Luka, he hasn't done it yet, but I could see him do so. Jokic, maybe if he really put his mind to scoring, and if, depending on the year, if he really got a lot of assists, maybe. But That's it. You know, that's a very short list of guys who can do that in recent NBA history, right? And even if you look at his stats and resume, like he's really checking all boxes for his career, averaging 24.3 points, 7 assists and 5 rebounds. And if you think about it, he's not one of those guys who got handed the keys to a franchise right off the bat. He came up as a 6th man of the year, and he's still averaging so much high averages. And he was able to become a 10-time All-Star, 3-time scoring champion, 2-time assist champs, as I mentioned, won 1 MVP, arguably should be 2 or 3, arguably. And he's a 7-time All-NBA guy and 6th man of the year. So he checks all the boxes. So I'm not really mad at that take. And I will say this. Although I disagree, I would maybe agree with Jeff Teague if it wasn't for 06. But just of 06, you got to take Dwayne Wade every day over James Harden, in my opinion. For Dwayne Wade, I won't even get into the stats. I don't think he needs any stats to argue and justify the fact that he's the 3rd best shooting guard ever and that he's above James Harden. It's just about the stuff that he did, man. He won a championship as a bus driver, which obviously James Harden cannot say. He is one of the best two-way players ever. He is unarguably, in my opinion, the best shot blocking guard without a question. He will also guard all the other elite guards, and he could steal the ball at a very high clip. So James Harden, even in his best years playing defense, when he actually tried, he was eyed at best. And that's because I like him. He's been very known for being awful on defense, and defense still matters. So Dwayne Wade absolutely clears in that segment too. He's also an all-time great leader and culture setter for the Miami Heat, compared to a guy like James Harden, who's been arguably a team destroyer. And the team hopper, all that stuff. You can't say that about Dwayne Wade. So Dwayne Wade wins in our argument also. And the last argument that I usually hate to use, but in this case it just screams one side over the other, is the winner's intangible and the mental toughness. You know, like a lot of people, they like to use these arguments, and I feel like this is just unfair. This is, first of all, we can't really quantify it. And there's very few people who will be objective when using mental toughness arguments for one player over the other. But in this case, when you look at James Harden versus Dwayne Wade, like you see that Dwayne Wade is one of the best winners ever. And you have James Harden on the other side, who's had so many meltdowns in big moments in the playoffs. I don't even need to go out there and name them. Like, you all remember what James Harden has not done, in the playoffs compared to a guy like D Wade. And it doesn't matter actually his role on the team. He still came up short in big moments, whether it was the number 1, the number 2, or hell, the number 3 with the Thunder. He still came up short in the finals, you know? So just of that, you have to pick Dwayne Wade. So I'm not mad at Jeff Teague's take because, again, he approached it from a skill set perspective offensively. And I think that you can make a great case that James Harden was a better offensive player than Dwayne Wade, although Dwayne Wade was still the most efficient player of the two. But James Harden was a real 3-level scorer, which Dwayne Wade was never a great 3-point shooter like that. But still, if you look at the whole package, offense, defense, leadership, mental toughness, athleticism, and resume, it's Dwayne Wade every day. Every day. He's number 3, solid, no debate in my opinion. I would have James Harden number 4 fighting with AI. But I would give the nod to James Harden over AI for number 4, best shooting guard ever. So anyways, these are my thoughts. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. But more importantly, get in that comment section and let's have that convo. Who you like as your top 5 shooting guards ever? Drop your ranking. Do you agree with Jeff Teague? Do you disagree? Let's talk about all that. It's been your boy, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.